before anyone knew it, the missiles were in flight, without a human eye to watch the green and red blips across the computer screen. And this is what you get when you take a bathroom break while playing Missile Command. Basically, nuclear war devastates the planet.
And there will be peace. There will be peace when the people of the world want it so badly that their governments will have no choice but to give it to them.
I guess we just didn't want it bad enough. Anyway, cities are reduced to rubble, especially coastal cities, and Africa is basically vaporized. Not sure why so many nukes were apparently targeted there, but what do I know about nuclear war? However, instead of a nuclear winter, the natural result of so much dust and evaporation, the world actually calms down pretty quickly to a mildly temperate state. Hey, the end of the world was neat. After the prologue, we cut to Superman in the ruins of Metropolis. I started this journal on the day after Doomsday. Day 1, canceled dentist appointment. Superman talks about how everyone he knew is dead. Even Clark Kent is dead, but I don't have to bury him. Kal-El, Clark Kent, Superman. As far as I know, I'm it, the sole survivor of a Holocaust, for the second time in my life. Man, do I have crappy luck or what? And the price for survival is the loss of all those powers and abilities far beyond mortal men. Wait, why? If it was because of the sun being blocked out, yeah, I can see that. But we're going to see later that other superheroes lost their powers too. How exactly do nuclear weapons remove your powers but leave you still able to survive in what is surely an environment filled with radioactive fallout? Harry, I'll have that exclusive interview with Superman on your desk in the morning. Jimmy, don't lose the signal watch again. Like I said, I used to be all-seeing, all-knowing. Superman wasn't either of those things. I know we like to do the Superman as Jesus metaphor a lot, but I didn't think people were interpreting it literally. Now I'm talking to myself, loud enough to drown out the pitter-patter of not-so-little feet. Yes, people, we actually have literal rodents of unusual size here. So, in a few short days after the apocalypse, and yes, it has to be a few short days, otherwise why the hell did it take so long for Soup to bury his friends and loved ones? Animals have mutated thanks to the radiation to be giant-sized. In the old days, why the repetition there? The repetition there! I would have sailed through this with a clever crack and jaunty aplomb. You know, wisecracks aren't exactly what I think of when I think of Superman. They come at me like rapacious wolves. I see that Superman has had time to work on his vocabulary since the end of the world. Once again attempting to be deep, Superman narrates part of an interview he did once about Superman's code of not killing human life. Okay, that's nice and all, but why are you bringing this up when he kills a giant rat? In the months that follow, Superman decides to keep his sanity in check by working on a garden. It doesn't really help since more hallucinations come to visit him, this time of his dead parents. The hallucinations come on even stronger, now with giant-sized versions of Lois, Perry, and Jimmy. You know what, darling? You're a hero, not a sodbuster. Hey, don't undersell him on the farmer thing. After all, he's managed to produce a viable garden despite irradiated soil. Now we get some hallucinations from Luthor and Batman, who tell him he needs to drop his holier-than-thou attitude. You were always bigger than all of us, always trying to let us feel like we were your equals, even though you could wipe the floor with all 7 billion of us with one hand tied behind your back. You could have rid the world of rock and roll long ago, damn you! Oh, lucky. He's holding a gun. Yeah, I don't care. Powers or not, apocalypse or not, it's just wrong to see Superman holding a gun. He encounters a bunch of giant rats, cavemen, and a giant bird. So the radiation affected all animals the exact same way, fighting over a source of clean water. Equally surprising, considering the bombs annihilated most cities, yet apparently this one little stream survived untouched. Lois, what have I become? Well, since you haven't shaved, I can tell you exactly what you've become. Bearded idiot. Giant Lois hallucination tells him he needs to leave Metropolis and see if he's truly the Omega Man or not. A month passes and he continues writing his blog. There's a thought, would pen and paper survive the apocalypse? The same biogenetic mutations that made enormous monsters of sewer rats that cruelly perverted once human survivors of the Holocaust has turned the lush vegetation into grotesque mockeries that dwarf the earth that spawned them. Hey, I like celery, you jerk! Just comes across a colony of mutants that have formed a primitive society, domesticated rats, and now plan to eat a giant cat. Something snapped in my head at the idea of these grotesques tearing this noble creature apart. As such, he takes out his machine gun and starts to shoot. Soups tries to go down to the cat, but the ignoble creature attacks him, too. He gets on the thing's back and on a montage page tames the cat, naming it kryptonite because it's such a damn menace. Naming it after a radioactive mineral that could kill me in the wake of a nuclear holocaust. I am the king of ironic wit. So now it's time for more traveling. The deserted rubble eventually gives way to forests, and, well, it's only appropriate that I give this the right kind of travel music. They stop by a river, and Clark decides to take a swim. A shot of his super speedo. Yes, it was very important for me to know what kind of underpants Superman wears after the apocalypse. When he emerges from the water, he's immediately tackled by a woman who also manages to ensnare the cat with a lasso. Surrender, mutant! Okay, he's very muscular, he has hair, and you saw him speaking perfect English earlier. Why do you think he's a mutant exactly? What's even better, this is Wonder Woman, having traded in her armor for a tube top and a lengthy loincloth. She explains that there are others who survived along with her. Others like us who survived the war and lost our powers in the process. And good riddance. What? Why would you say good riddance to losing your powers? Look, I know it was grouchy that Supes' reaction in JLA Act of God was to sit on the couch and get drunk, but that doesn't mean I want the complete opposite. For crying out loud, Clark, your powers would allow you to help repair a lot of damage to the Earth, look for survivors easier, and better protect yourself against the mutant hordes. For that matter, why the hell are Wonder Woman's powers gone? Her powers are magic! Is Themyscira get nuked too? Anyway, Supes takes the first opportunity to use Diana's knife to shave off his beard, so I can't refer to him as bearded idiot. I will still call him an idiot, though, since I'm pretty sure shaving like that is gonna hurt like hell. Wonder Woman brings Superman back to their village, where they're met by Wally West, the now one-legged Flash. Later, they go to a council meeting, and we run into the Martian Manhunter, who is the elected president of the village. And like JLA Act of God, we must now question what the heck happened to their superpowers. At least in Act of God, John reverted to what Martians look like but not shape-shifting. Here he looks human but green. Why? What exactly did the nukes do to him that prevents his shape-shifting? This is a biologically natural part of his species. It's not an actual power. If he has lost his shape-shifting, why doesn't he revert to his Martian appearance? Is it like an Animorph thing? He got stuck in that shape too long? The council is in the middle of debating about the mutants who have been making raids on their village and stealing food and supplies. John wants to make peace with them, but others are not quite on board with the Neville Chamberlain strategy, preferring to fight the mutants. Guy Gardner also has this insightful bit. Might be better if we realize we're the problem, and they're the normies. No, they're not. Oh, and it turns out that Joker is also living in the village. As they later explain, the Joker was made sane by Armageddon. I don't think that form of therapy is going to catch on. Along with Mr. Miracle and Big Barda, also among them is Billy Batson, a.k.a. Captain Marvel. Not the one in Cry for Justice, who some people tell me wasn't called Captain Marvel either at the time. Comics are very confusing. And I say we put these freaks into the ground before they multiply and devour us. For the record, Billy Batson is more of a Boy Scout than Superman, so that's a weird statement coming from him. What's really sad is that this isn't even as bad as it gets with him. Haven't we learned anything from the death of this planet? Yeah, there just isn't enough for everybody, and I'm not sharing my cousin Superman, so that's a... No, they're not. Oh, and it turns out that Joker is also living in the village. As they later explain, the Joker was made sane by Armageddon. I don't think that form of therapy is going to catch on. Along with Mr. Miracle and Big Barda, also among them is Billy Batson, a.k.a. Captain Marvel. Not the one in Cry for Justice, who some people tell me wasn't called Captain Marvel either at the time. Comics are very confusing. And I say we put these freaks into the ground before they multiply and devour us. For the record, Billy Batson is more of a Boy Scout than Superman, so that's a weird statement coming from him. What's really sad is that this isn't even as bad as it gets